All right, everybody, welcome to Not a Rabbi Podcast, Season 3, Episode number 7. This is actually a re-recording of the podcast I recorded Sunday, October 31st. Today is October 4th. I do apologize for the delay. I did want to get that out, I promise. I recorded one, I wanted to get it out, but what happens is sometimes computers crash and do not save your material, and therefore I did not have my podcast. I do apologize for that. Anyhow, I wanted to do a quick show here. So first off, as always, I would like to thank my good friends at the Fifth Column Discord channel, the unofficial channel of the Fifth Column podcast, for allowing me to use their video chatting, or whatever it is called here, where I am recording live. Thank you to the live audience as well for being here. And let's get into it. Or as our good friend, or not good friend really, but Bob Grant used to say, let's be heard. Anybody here from the New York area from the 80s will definitely know who I am talking about and referencing. Regardless. Okay, so we start off with a question. The question is asked by somebody, and as always, if you would like to send me a comment or a question, you can always visit www.notarabipod.com/contact, and you can send it to me with that form. I would be happy to receive it and happy to answer the question. Almost all questions I am very happy to do. Okay, so the question is here, and this was really pertaining to October 31st, which as known in the non-Jewish calendar as Halloween, and the individual asks, is there any special relationship between Judaism and Halloween? He then continues, I'm not quite sure what I mean by special, but is it ever frowned upon to participate? And what the answer is to that is a no for the most part. And when I say it is a no, what I am referring to here is the whole deal with going and dressing up for the holiday. Now, we had spoken actually in a previous podcast, I believe it was in season 2, I don't remember, but we had talked about quote-unquote the Jewish Halloween, which is Purim, where people dress up and the like, and they give out gifts to individuals, and that is pretty much the end of the comparison, because what you'll have to talk about is that there is a prohibition to imitate Gentile customs, or non-Jewish customs, let's say. I don't like to use the word Gentile, but there are different types of customs that are forbidden in terms of by the prohibition of imitating non-Jewish customs, and that's found in Leviticus 18:3. The first is idolatrous customs, and the second is foolish customs found in a non-Jewish community, even if the origins are not idolatrous. Okay, so that is a little bit of the background here, and the let's see, where was that? There was a quote that here we go. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, Halloween originated with pagan Celtic. Let me start that again. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, Halloween originated with the pagan Celtic festival of Samhain, a day which the devil was invoked for the various divinations. Souls of the dead were supposed to revisit their homes on this day. Britannica says the autumn festival acquired sinister significance with ghosts, witches, hobgoblins, and demons of all kinds said to be roaming about. The Roman Catholic Church in the early Middle Ages instituted what we know as All Hallows Eve on October 31st and All Saints Day on November 1st to counteract this occult festival. However, All Hallows Eve was co-opted into the pagan celebration of Samhain, and of course, it never fails that I receive a phone call. Hello? Oh, great, thanks. Love it when people call and hang up. Okay, anyhow. So, this shows you that it was really a religious sort of Gentile, non-Jewish custom. It was a religious type of non-Jewish custom that was going on over here. Now, even so, you might say, well, today it doesn't matter. Well, most of us don't believe in these types of things. But the problem is that since it originated as that, even though it may have developed because of a more liberal attitude or what have you, liberal with a small L, I would say in this case, we can't take it away from that. So let's juxtapose this with another holiday that comes up at the end of November, which is Thanksgiving. And so why is that any different? And in fact, this is what a Rabbi Michael J. Brody does talk about in this huge article that I'm actually just quoting from a appendix that he has regarding Halloween. However, he says in this, and for whatever reason, and I won't go into the specific details, Thanksgiving is not a problem, and you could celebrate Thanksgiving if you so desire. And it's very, very easy to do, and a lot of people do. It is I would say it's split at this point, as a lot of Jews do celebrate it in one way or another, and others will not actually do that. But that is really the entire gist of it. So to answer the question, Halloween you don't really celebrate. Now there's one point that I did want to make here with regard to this, and that is, I've been talking about dressing up and going trick-or-treating. What about the opposite, though? What about staying home and giving candy to neighbors? Is that allowed? And Rabbi Brody here says, and I happen to probably agree with this sentiment for whatever that means. The fact that I agree with it, it doesn't, people don't need my approval on it. However, for creating a atmosphere of respect in the community or in your neighborhood, it is always a good idea, not always, but you should certainly do that. So this way people do not have this animosity. Is probably too strong of a word, but something along those lines for that. Okay, so let's clear my throat. All right, let's get to some new news articles now that we've talked about that question, and I do appreciate the individual for sending me that question. Once again, thank you very much, and if you would like to send me a question, you can always do that at notarabbi.com/contact. Alrighty, so news article number 1 here, which I will now post to the chat. And for those of you who have come late, you're going to have to stay afterwards and clean the erasers and the chalkboard. Anyhow, I'm going to post that article into the chat now. As I said, there's a game we play occasionally here on the podcast, which is this anti-Semitism? And here's an article from the Times of Israel regarding, and the easy for me to say, but the headline is UK actor faces relentless, and that is in scare quotes. Wow, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. UK actor faces relentless abuse for playing Jewish character in BBC series. And this tells the tale of an individual by the name of Eddie Marzan, who is not Jewish. He was playing a Jewish character in a TV series called Ridley Road on BBC. And he has received, and this is about, just to give a little bit more context, he plays the leader of an anti-fascist underground movement known as the 62 Group in the show. This show is set in the early 1960s Britain and presents a fictionalized version of a real surge in fascism in London at the time, and the young Jewish men and women facing down extremists. And so, here's some of the wonderful tweets that people sent him. And this also, you could file this news article under Twitter is horrible, example number 7,281. I'm probably underestimating those examples, but here's one of the tweets. Facts are facts, Eddie. You are a crap actor, and I will never watch blank with your apartheid-loving bake in it. I guess bake is being used for a euphemism in some sort. I don't know. I've never heard that before in my life. Anybody that is adjacent to the UK or from the UK would like to fill me in on that. I do appreciate it. Another tweet here was, why does the BBC do so many programs favoring the Zionists' return and so few favoring Palestinians' right of return? Just asking. So, as always, somebody is asking, and when somebody is just asking, that usually means that they're pretty much a racist at some sort or the other. So anyway, this is his response to this. Blank me, expletive deleted, as always. This is relentless. All I did was play a Jew. I dread to think what would have happened if I was actually Jewish. He then replied, he did a series about British Jews facing anti-Semitism. Nothing to do with Israel or Palestine. But if you think they're linked, then you probably think one justifies the other, and the irony is that's exactly why Ridley Road got commissioned. So that is pretty much it. And, as I've always said, that people often will conflate complaints about the state of Israel, and there can be complaints about the state of Israel. Make no mistake, it is a democratic state. It makes mistakes. Nothing that it does is perfect. Nothing that anybody does here is perfect, I would hazard to guess. In any event, so that is something that is a problem when you conflate these two things. You conflate an anti-Israel belief with anti-Semitism, which often gets done. That is the problem, and that is here. This is probably something that really does make it anti-Semitism. Here's another comment that Marzan said, and I'll just end it here, so you don't have to read the you could read the article actually, which will be in the show notes, of course. Anti-Semitism gives the myth that it's punching up to some mythical, all-powerful Jewish elite. Quite so often, young people are taken in by anti-Semitic tropes on social media. Don't let your friends don't let friends do social media. So, any event, that is the first article, and yeah, you could pretty much say that this is anti-Semitic. I would totally say that. Any thoughts, questions, comments, virtual or actual spoiled tomatoes being thrown at me from the comment section and from the chat? Yes, Twitter, one comment is, Twitter is terrible and depressing. This is true, and this is why I actually have gotten off of Twitter for, I think, almost 2 years now. and I have never been happier. I shouldn't say never, but I am so happy I made that decision to be off of Twitter. Really, the only sort of social media that I am on is Discord, because I get to choose the places where I go and the content that I can see for the most part, and also some Reddit channels, Reddit subreddits. But that is about it. I think that Facebook, Twitter, all of that jazz is just complete and utter garbage. So let's see, one more comment coming in here. All right, while I'm waiting for that comment to come in, let's throw up another. Let's not throw up. I don't want to throw up today. No offense. Okay, next article from the New York Times. And as always, please remember to deal with the paywall as you see fit. Okay, another comment is, I never understood Twitter. It just seems so narcissistic to just say things and think the world needs to hear it. Yeah, exactly. And that this is exactly why I gave up with it, because it just became such absolute hot garbage. Even the small little corner that I was part of, I just felt that people were getting bigger heads, including myself, than we needed to get. And I did not need, I went there, I wanted to get the likes, I wanted to get the dopamine hit, and I just decided at one point in time that this is absolutely stupid and I needed to stop. And so I did. So, yes, okay, anyway, let's move on, and this is part 2 of our game, Is This Anti-Semitism? Like I said, this is an article from the New York Times. Mayim Bialik, a.k.a. Blossom, for those of a certain age, wants the Jeopardy job. Is she neutral enough? And this article basically talks about Alex Trebek and how he seemed to be never have an opinion and was always very nice, and basically complaining, and the article basically complains about certain issues or certain points of view that she has or had, which one of them including making an informed decision not to vaccinate her children. And then she clarified about the coronavirus vaccine, that they would get it, her children would get it. She blogged about, and then here's the big crime, according to a lot of people, she blogged about donating money to buy bulletproof vests for the Israeli Defense Forces. And then she also endorsed a brain health supplement, which was from a company that agreed to settle a class action lawsuit that accused it of false advertising. So, in the, like I said, this is really stupid because, in my opinion, because Alex Trebek was a seemed to have been a very nice, genial person. I don't think there's any evidence to counteract that, and I'm not trying to say that he wasn't a nice person. It's also very interesting that the show Jeopardy has just blown up at some point in time to be this be-all, end-all of intelligentsia that there is, when, in fact, actually, the questions have gotten dumbed down quite a bit from what I understand. Be that as it may, I'm sure that Alex Trebek did have opinions. He just was at a certain age in his life when the internet came about that he doesn't go ahead and post those opinions. He didn't go ahead and state those opinions. So he was able to keep all of that information off. Mayim Bialik is slightly younger than Alex Trebek, and she is probably my age, I would assume, around there. And she, was full-throated on the internet, as a lot of us were in the early days, and everything that a lot of stuff that she did got remembered because things don't get forgotten at these days because of the internet. So that is the problem, and it's not that Alex Trebek. Let's take a look at this claim here, and this is the last claim where she endorsed a brain health supplement that agreed to settle class action lawsuits. You know who did advertisements for shady, scammy places that preyed on the elderly, such as reverse mortgages? You know who did did some advertisements for them? Alex Trebek. He's done a lot of advertisements like that for elderly people because a lot of elderly people used to watch Jeopardy, then Matlock, and go to bed. And that was it. I don't know if anybody got the Matlock reference from The Simpsons, but that's okay. But regardless, that was it. But he did that. And so he's not this, like I said, I think he's a nice guy, but I'm sure that and as you could already see, he is not necessarily this paragon of virtue that everybody tries to make him out to be. And that is the problem. Now, I don't think that this article, as we play the game, is this anti-Semitism. I do not think that this is anti-Semitism. So I will say that. I have, my thoughts on Ms. Bialik are wishy-washy to a degree. She's a very interesting individual for me, which I don't really feel like getting into that for the reasons, but if pushed, I might. Comment here from the live chat. One individual met Alex Trebek at a Jeopardy taping. I would hope you did meet him at a Jeopardy taping, because if you met him at actually you could have probably met him at a Rolling Stones concert. Anyhow, he is very nice and tells a good dirty joke when the cameras weren't rolling. You see? See, this is what I'm talking about. He was a human being. And, hey, go figure. So, the fact that Bialik has these opinions, that is not, a big deal. People all have opinions. We are all biased. I am biased. You are biased. You're listening to my podcast. You are biased as well. You have your points of view that you try to get, that you have. And, sometimes you'll be dissuaded from those points of view. Sometimes you won't, but you'll always come into things with a specific bias that you have. You're not totally, you're not totally going to not have a bias. We are human beings. That is part of human nature. I believe that we all have our biases. Anyhow, that is article number 2. Any additional thoughts regarding this article? Also, if anybody knows if her show Call Me Kat is still going to be on the air, my wife is interested. She kind of liked it. Yeah, so anyhow, that is that article. Wait for one more comment to roll in here. Yeah, my point is pretty much personal opinions shouldn't be disqualifying for this job. If you are, and that was a question that was asked in the comments, my point is that personal opinions shouldn't be disqualifying for the job. These opinions, I don't think should be disqualifying for the job. If you're going to go ahead and say something horrible, such as, you believe any certain group of individuals should be taken out and shot, then yeah, you know what, that might disqualify you. That's the question. The question really is for this, I believe, is can this person be a good host? Can they make the individuals who are the contestants comfortable, and can that individual go ahead and make the show entertaining for the people that watch. And that means if enough people watch, there are going to be more advertisers. And if there are more advertisers, the production company will be happy. That's really what it boils down to. And so I have a big problem with this. And then again, I have a major issue with a lot of cancel culture to begin with. So this probably shouldn't be surprising in the least. Another comment here. If the question is she neutral enough? Then yeah, she is, or no one is. Exactly what my point is. Exactly. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so let's move on now, and we're going to have some other news articles here, but this is really going to play into the main discussion as well. And so let's bring up this. That's not the article I was looking for. Let's bring... Oh, yes, and one on the original show, somebody did bring up this article, which talks about a lot of actors who have preyed on the elderly. So I would definitely suggest taking... I'm going to post this to the chat so you all can see that. We can get a hologram Trebek. We do have the tech for that. Shaking hands might be a little bit of a problem with him. But yeah, I don't watch it. I am not that big of a... It doesn't really make or break me one way or another. So I just shrug my head and move on. All right. So here's the next article that I want to talk about, and this is going to delve into the entire question which we're going to be discussing today. I'm sorry, I got into my corny teacher mode to say disgusting instead of discussing, and said I should really be in my corny podcaster mode. Sorry. Anyhow, let's go on here. So the question for discussion is really, should Jewish actors or actresses, or Jewish female actors or male actors, only play the role of somebody who is Jewish in the show? And this was brought up by one of my not so favorite people. Don't like the individual's humor or being a comedian, but the individual is Sarah Silverman, and another individual, also a comedian over in the UK by the name of David Baddiel. And they are speaking out against non-Jews playing the roles of people who are Jews. A couple of cases in point here is Tony Shalhoub playing Abe Weissman, Rachel Brosnahan playing Miriam Maisel, or Maisel, for the Marvelous Miss Maisel TV show, or not TV show, but streaming show on Amazon, which my wife and daughter both like. I do not, and I'm not crazy about it, but hey, that's, your mileage may vary on that, and I'll still talk to you if you do like the show. Regardless, they are both individuals who are not Jewish. And then there are other cases, such as Catherine Hahn playing Joan Rivers on a upcoming Showtime miniseries, Helen Mirren playing Golda Meir, and Felicity Jones being portrayed as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and a couple of other people, things like that. So the question is always, should this be the case? My opinion is, that it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I think that, as I mentioned on the show before, that the show that got eaten by my computer, you had a case of, oh my gosh, I just blanked on what her name was. Black Widow from the Avengers. Help me out, team. I just totally forgot. Scarlett Johansson, thanks. Okay, so yes, Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be playing in an independent film a transgendered individual, and people got got in an uproar over this, whether or not somebody like Scarlett Johansson should actually play the role of a transgendered person because she is not transgendered. And this, again, is a ridiculous, ridiculous issue. And actually, she stepped down from the role. If I'm not mistaken, the production got stopped. The movie never got made because, well, it lost a big star. And when you're going to lose a big star like that to get a movie off the ground, you're not going to have the people wanting to back you. The producers are not, or the money people are not going to want to back you, and so you have a problem there. But this is exactly the problem. Actors are trained to play individual roles, and it doesn't matter what type of role it is. Okay, you do have exceptions, of course. You do have exceptions where the performer only plays themselves. A modern example of this would be Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa does a great job of playing Jason Momoa. I happen to love him for it. I think he's great at it. But he does not really have a range on his acting skills. He's been playing the same character since he was on Stargate Atlantis. As Ronan Dax, for those of you who are wondering. A question about this is: would the trans identify as a woman, which ScarJo is? I don't know. I think that the question is academic at this point, because there's no show anymore. There's no movie anymore about this. Anyway, and it happens to be that Tony Shalhoub, who is actually one of my favorite actors, I have loved his acting from his days on Wings. I think he's been a fantastic actor, and you got to see his range when he actually played. There was an episode with him on the X-Files, and I don't remember the episode that it was, but you got to see his range. He really has a range, and he's really good. And what he says is the same thing that I'm saying. So I feel like I'm in good company here. I always feel that we're actors. Shalhoub told the New York Post, "We're trained to, or at least I was, not to play myself, to play characters. And so it's troubling to me that they're limiting actors. If we start to go down that road, I don't know where it ends. Are people who are members of the mafia, are they going to be upset that the people who haven't actually committed those types of crimes are playing those roles?" And this is exactly my point. Actors are actors. Actresses are actresses. They are individuals who play the roles. Now, do they play it badly? That's very possible. Do they play it well? That's very possible as well. I think a counter to Mr. Shalhoub's point might be if you take a look at the Sopranos. I don't think that there was any non-Italians in the roles. Specifically, the main roles for The Sopranos. I could be wrong because, again, I never watched The Sopranos, so I could be 100% wrong. And if I am, you can always send me a comment at notarabbypod.com/contact and tell me that I am wrong, and I am completely okay with that, and I will sit corrected as I want to do, WONT to do. So yeah, this is it. I don't think that we have a major. This should not be a major issue. Then again, I don't think that it should be a major issue for anything. If the individual is able to go ahead and perform the role well, then that individual should get the role. It doesn't make a difference their gender. It doesn't make a difference how they identify as. It doesn't make a difference of their race, religion, what have you. It don't matter. They should be able to play the role. Was there backlash of Robert Downey's Kirk Lazarus? Kirk Lazarus, I don't know what movie that's in, so it'd be hard for me to say. I'm not such a movie guy, sorry. We'll have to see. Tropic Thunder. Was that the one that he did the blackface in? I think that was. Yes. There was backlash, but that was basically because Downey did the blackface. That was, if I remember correctly, that was the major issue with Robert Downey Jr. Not anything else. Okay, so another comment here. If no Jewish actors were getting roles, that would be a problem. It would be better to support up-and-coming actors from different backgrounds so they'll be big enough to sell movies instead of just complaining about existing stars. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And again, I have no problem with this at all because, you are going to have, you're going to need them. And I think that having, there's always going to be, let's say, in an ensemble cast, there's always going to be certain breakout actors or actresses who are going to be there, and they're always going to be able to go ahead and become bigger stars. And that's why I think ensemble shows are very important for that aspect, because you're always going to have somebody that's going to break out and become extremely, extremely possible. So that is that is that. Okay, so that was the discussion for today. Any other thoughts, comments, or anything else from the live chat? Who is going to play me in a movie? Movie of the podcast. Yeah, Louis Anderson probably. I think Louis could play me well. I mean, we have pretty much the similar build, so I think that would be good. Any other thoughts on that? Who's the guy who was on the fifth column a while back? Harry Siegel? Yes, Harry. You know, Harry and his brother Jake. Yeah, those two. Yeah, Harry and I do not have the same voice. I'm slightly calmer voice, I would say, than Harry or his brother Jake. But that's a different story. Yeah, I don't know who would play me. I have no idea. I mean, who would play, jeez. I'd never thought about who would play me. Maybe I'll put that up as a poll question on the blog. I mean, maybe Bill Murray, Paul Giamatti. See, Giamatti is one of those great character actors who could probably do it. I loved his John Adams. I thought his John Adams was just absolutely wonderful. Who did I just said somebody, and I can't even remember who the heck I just said. Yeah, Giamatti could do it though. He's got the hairline for it, that's for sure. I was just thinking of somebody, and I don't remember if I even said who I was thinking that could play me. Bill Murray. I think Bill Murray could play me. I think that would be cool. Maybe Michael Keaton to keep the Pittsburgh connection. I don't know. Those are. I'll have to ask my wife about this and see who she thinks should play me in my thing in the podcast movie. Now the big question is though, right? Is it going to be a drama? Is it going to be a comedy? What type of movie is it going to be? Yes, we would need to. We would need to have somebody who converted to Judaism. So Sammy Davis Jr., he could play me then. That would be it. With that, I would like to thank everyone in the live chat for tuning in to this episode, which is Season 3, Episode 7. And I would like to thank once again the people who are responsible for the Fifth Column Discord server, the unofficial Fifth Column podcast Discord server, for allowing me to use their server for this little thing that I do. And I'd like to thank you all for listening. Again, if you have a comment, if you have any feedback, please send me some notice of that on notarabbypod.com/contact. As always, please like and subscribe to the podcast. Not like, but send a review. Do a review wherever you get your podcasts. Do a review for me, please. It would be appreciated. I need it. I need the love, people. Just please. Like and subscribe is YouTube. I don't know why I did it like that. But anyway, thank you all once again. I will see you in the next episode. I am Aaron Benedict, and I am not a rabbi.
You said you told her all about your love. The words flowed through from somewhere up above, coming down like rain, washing your heart clean again. A thin flame running underneath the skin. Oh, that sweet pain when she touched you then. A lightning strike, opening your eyes again. What a fool, oh, what a fool you are. Just like me, lost in the power of your own desire. And you don't see, you just don't see her laughing at you, old fool. Did I ever tell you all about my love? The words don't come down on the wings of any dove. They stick to my tongue as I try to set them free. But I've known you longer and better than them all. I've watched you come and go, I've watched you rise and fall. Oh, turn around and you can come to me. What a fool you are. Just like me, lost in the power of your own desire. And you don't see, you just don't see her laughing at you, old fool. The air is cold, the nights are longer now, and where we're going is much more certain now. And I need you, and I see you need me. What fools, oh, what fools we are. All of us lost in the power of our own desire. Can we see, oh, can we see each other now?